Part 1. The call that echoes in the heart. Have you ever wondered what the greatest secret to a fulfilling life is? Picture a man 2,000 years ago, climbing a mountain with a crowd hungry for answers. He wasn't a king or a warrior, yet his words changed the world. In the Gospel of Matthew 5, Jesus begins the Sermon on the Mount with a promise that still intrigues us today. "Blessed are the poor in spirit," he said. But what does that truly mean? Imagine this. What if the happiness you seek isn't found in what the world values? Jesus looked into the eyes of that crowd and saw broken hearts, weary souls, and endless doubts. He didn't offer riches or power, but something far greater. The Beatitudes are like a map to a hidden treasure. Each word is a clue that challenges everything you think you know. Are you ready to unravel this mystery? It was a sunny morning with a gentle breeze touching the robes of those gathered. There were fishermen, mothers, curious youths, all waiting for something new. Jesus sat atop the mountain, like a teacher who knows the secrets of the universe. He didn't speak like the religious leaders of his time. His words were simple, but cut like a sword. Who are the poor in spirit who will inherit the kingdom of heaven? Picture Daniel, a young man from that time. He was poor, without influence, carrying an emptiness in his heart. When he heard Jesus, something sparked within him. Christ's words weren't just advice. They were flames that warmed the soul. Daniel realized that being poor in spirit wasn't weakness, but recognizing the need for something greater. Have you ever felt that emptiness? What if I told you those words still hold power today? The Sermon on the Mount isn't just an ancient story, it's an urgent invitation. Jesus didn't speak to impress, but to transform. Each beatitude is a step toward a life the world can't explain. But beware. Continuing this journey takes courage. Are you willing to take the next step? Think of Mary, a woman in the crowd who had lost everything: family, hope, dreams. She heard Jesus say, "Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted." How could that be possible? Mary didn't know, but those words lit a spark in her heart. She felt something greater awaited her. Have you ever felt a call you can't explain? Jesus' words weren't just beautiful, they challenged human logic. Being meek, hungering for righteousness, being pure in heart, it all seemed impossible. Yet Jesus spoke with authority as someone who knew the human heart. He knew the crowd needed more than rules, they needed hope. And you, what are you searching for today? Each sentence of the Sermon on the Mount is like a door opening to new understanding. But that door requires a key: faith. Jesus didn't promise an easy life, but a life with purpose. As the crowd listened, the silence was palpable. They knew they were in the presence of something eternal. Are you ready to hear what comes next? What makes the Sermon on the Mount so special? It's not just a speech. It's a silent revolution. Jesus didn't come to change just one person, but the entire world. And that change starts with you. Before we continue, take a deep breath and think. What would you do if you discovered a truth that changes everything? Shall we find out together? Part 2. The light you cannot hide. Asterisk, asterisk, Jesus continued, and his words grew even more intense. He looked at the crowd and said, "You are the light of the world." Imagine the impact of that. Ordinary people like fishermen and craftsmen being called light. It wasn't about shining for themselves, but illuminating the darkness around them. What if you were called to be that light today? Think of John, a fisherman who heard those words. He lived an ordinary life, mending nets, facing storms. But Jesus saw something special in him. John wasn't perfect, but he had an open heart. When Jesus spoke of being light, John felt a calling, realized his actions could inspire others. Have you ever inspired someone without realizing it? Being light isn't about being perfect. It's about letting your faith shine, even on the darkest days. Jesus said, "A city on a hill cannot be hidden." Your life, your choices, they're seen by someone. But here's a question. What is your light showing the world today? What if I told you there are people waiting for your courage? Jesus didn't choose kings or scholars. He chose ordinary people like you and me. The Sermon on the Mount is an invitation to live differently. It's a challenge to leave your mark, even when the world tries to dim your flame. Do you accept that challenge? Now pause for a moment and think, what does it mean to be light in your life? Maybe it's helping a friend, forgiving someone, or simply smiling on a tough day. Jesus knew we all have a unique light. But beware, That light can fade if you don't protect it. How are you nurturing yours? Back to the crowd. They were amazed but also confused. How could they be light in a world so full of shadows? Jesus didn't give easy answers. He simply pointed the way. Your actions, your words, your faith, they all matter. And today, your light can change someone's life. Here's a secret. Being light is contagious. You shine, others are inspired to do the same. Think of someone who's inspired you. Maybe a teacher, a friend, or even a stranger. Jesus knew this, and that's why he insisted. Don't hide your light. Let it shine, even if it feels small. Now, I want to invite you to join this journey. If you're enjoying this reflection on the Sermon on the Mount, comment the word light in the comments. When I see your comment, I'll be thrilled because I know we're connected by this message. I'll leave a heart on your comment. Now that you've commented, let's keep going. The Sermon on the Mount isn't just about listening, it's about acting. Jesus challenged the crowd to live what he taught. Today, he challenges you. It's not about grand gestures, but daily choices. Every step you take is a chance to light up the world. Ready for the next step? Part 3. The narrow path that leads to life. Jesus now says something that shocks the crowd. Do not think I came to abolish the law, but to fulfill it. He didn't come to destroy the old promises, but to give them new meaning. Imagine the impact of that. The law, so rigid, now comes alive through love. How does this apply to your life today? Think of Anna, a young woman in the crowd. She grew up following religious rules, but felt something was missing. When Jesus spoke, she realized true obedience comes from the heart. It's not about following rules out of fear, but out of love. Anna felt freedom for the first time. Have you ever felt that freedom? Jesus goes further. He talks about the human heart. Anger, envy, judgment, it all starts within us. He challenges the crowd to look inward, to face their own flaws. It's uncomfortable, but necessary. How many times have you judged someone without knowing their full story? The Sermon on the Mount is like a mirror. It shows who you really are, but also who you can become. Jesus doesn't condemn, he invites. He knows the path to transformation is narrow, but worth it. Are you willing to walk that path, even if it's tough? Picture the crowd, listening in silence. They knew Jesus wasn't just teaching, he was calling them to a new life. Every word was an invitation to leave the past behind. But that invitation comes with a warning. The narrow path requires courage. Are you ready to face that challenge? What if I told you every choice you make brings you closer to or further from that path? Jesus doesn't promise ease, but purpose. He speaks of forgiveness, loving your enemies, living with integrity. It's a call that echoes today. What will you choose? Think of Peter, an impulsive man in the crowd. He heard Jesus talk about forgiving even those who hurt you. Peter struggled with this, but something shifted inside him. He realized holding on to anger was heavier than forgiving. What are you carrying in your heart today? Before we continue, I have a special invitation for you. If this message is touching you, subscribe to the channel now. Let's embark on this spiritual journey together. Your subscription helps us bring this message to more people. Already subscribed? Then let's move to the next part. The Sermon on the Mount is a map to a meaningful life, but that map requires action. Jesus doesn't want you to just listen. He wants you to live his words. Every step you take is a chance to draw closer to the purpose he planned for you. Shall we continue this journey? Part 4. The house built on the rock. Jesus now reaches the end of the Sermon on the Mount with a powerful story. He speaks of two men, one who builds his house on the rock, another on sand. The storm comes, and only one house stands. What is the foundation of your life today? That question still echoes. Think of Luke, a merchant in the crowd. He heard this parable and realized his life was like the house on sand. He chased wealth, status, but it all crumbled in hard times. Jesus' words made him question. What was he truly relying on? And you, what are you relying on? The house on the rock isn't about avoiding problems, but facing them with faith. Jesus teaches that hearing his words isn't enough. You must put them into practice. Every choice you make is like a brick in your foundation. Are you building on rock or sand? Picture the crowd, now standing, eyes fixed on Jesus. They knew they were in the presence of something greater than themselves. Jesus' words weren't just teachings, they were life. They felt the urgency to act, to change. Do you feel that urgency today? The Sermon on the Mount isn't just a story, it's a call to action. Jesus challenges you to live differently, to build a life that withstands storms. But that requires tough choices. Forgiving, loving, trusting, it's all part of the foundation. Are you ready to build? Think of how unpredictable life can be. Storms come, problems, losses, doubts. But Jesus promises that with Him as your foundation, you can face anything. The house on the rock is more than a metaphor. It's a promise. How will you respond to that promise? Now, I want to invite you to be part of this. If you enjoyed this video and want more reflections like this, hit the like button. Every like helps us reach more people with this transformative message. Your support makes all the difference. Let's keep building together. The Sermon on the Mount ends, but the journey is just beginning. Jesus left a legacy that still transforms lives today. You are part of that legacy. Every step you take, every choice, is a chance to live the truth He taught. Don't let this chance slip away. Before we wrap up, I have one last request. If you watched until the end, comment the phrase, "I stayed until the end." When I see your comment, I'll leave a heart to show we're in this journey together. Your participation means so much to me. Thank you for being here. May the Sermon on the Mount continue to echo in your heart. Until next time, and may your life be built on the rock.